What's up, everybody? Time now for the weekend wrap in high school football, a district final weekend. Another wild weekend. We get set for regionals, but let's talk about what just took place this weekend. Tom Markowski joining me as always. I'm Lauren Plant, and we always like to first talk about some of the games we talked about in the preview and see kind of how we did, what's the scorecard. It wasn't that great this particular weekend.
No, I don't think I had a good week with all the teams that went down.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's talk about Division I first off. Romeo at Lapeer. You went with Lapeer. You liked the way they scored points. I did too. You put the Bulldogs as the underdogs. They proved you wrong. Ground game getting it done for Romeo, no doubt about it. They beat Lapeer 34-14. Romeo in the regionals for the first time since '92.
That's a long time, but you know, we talked a little bit about this week. I couldn't get my hands on this one. I thought both teams had good balanced scoring. I thought the home field would do something well for the Lightning.
Right.
But Romeo just keeps on surprising me. I mean, that they beat Clarkston the first week. If somehow they can get to Ford Field, they're going to have to earn it. I mean, you look at who they had to play: defending champs first round, then an undefeated team in the second round, and this week they have to play Catholic Central. They're playing they're not getting any easy teams to play, Romeo. But you know, their balance really showed me something. Their defense, Lapeer has not been shut down like that all season long. Maybe they're a team of destiny.
Yeah, can you remember a team in your recent history, or as far back as you want to go, that could be on a kind of historic run like Romeo would be, considering not only where they've come from, the season they've had, and obviously the road they're going to have to go through to get to Fort Field?
No, you got to look at where they're at. They're the white division out of the MAC, and you don't expect a team like that. Nothing against the white, but usually the better teams obviously are in the red, and you expect somebody from the red, like a Dakota, or someone,
maybe somebody in a Division II or something like that,
correct,
not Division I.
And you just don't expect that. So you know, I guess in another sense, if you saw Lapeer win this game, you'd say the same thing. Like, you know, you don't expect them to get that far. But you know, Romeo's playing very well. I'm going to pick them this week against CC. We'll get to that later. But I just think they're playing with a lot of confidence. They have a lot of weapons offensively, and it seems like in the trenches they're winning the games too.
He's laying down the bulletin board material already, and it's Monday, so CC's going to come out strong when they hear that. That's all right, though. Yeah. That's what
CC
makes this stuff
fun. Gave up a lot last week.
They did, no doubt, no doubt. Division 5, Almont at Algonac. We talked about this. This was part 2. The Algonac Muskrats' first ever district title. 5th shutout of the season for that team. 13-0 the final. We both thought they would win in this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure I predicted or saw something like this low scoring. The first time around was 21-7. Right. Obviously, it was a low scoring game. But you know, we had Jeff Dulac was at the game. He was texting me, and I was texting him for the game I was at. And it was just a slugfest. There was hardly any team making any headway offensively. Algonac did score a late touchdown to make it that 13-0 game. But, you know, it was one of those, you know, smash mouth, we're going to try to get 4 yards in a cloud of pellets or whatever they play on up there. I don't know. This is great. I love it to see a team like Algonac.
Yeah, it's great.
You know, a few years back there was Ubley from the Thumb, got to the semifinals, and you know, it's really neat to see these communities that never
Harbor Beach,
right?
You know, winning the state finals in Division 8 a few years ago.
Right. In USA, Unionville, Sebowing area. It's great to see these communities that never really experienced it. Now they're getting a taste of it. So.
No doubt, and they're playing well.
Yes.
Back to Division 1, Northville versus Canton. We both thought this was a winnable game for Canton, but we could not go against Northville at home. We were wrong. 305 yards rushing in just the first half for Canton. It was 28-21 late. Marcus Sanders, an incredible run, carrying Mustang defenders on his back as he was tackled at the 4. They end up scoring the next play. Canton wins 34-27.
Well, we talked a little bit about this, how Canton started so well and then hit that dip in midseason, and it seems like they're carrying that on because they did finish the season strong.
It woke them up, no doubt about it.
Right, and you know, they have Saline this week, so maybe, you know, getting back to Romeo, and at least Canton has been to the state final, so that is an uncharted territory. but they've never won a state title. So maybe this is the year. They obviously have a tough road. Every game at this time of year, especially in Division I and the other higher divisions, is going to be tough at this time of year.
And that was a good Northville team.
Yes, they had a very solid Northville team. I didn't think they had that many weaknesses. We talked about that. The kicking game was real strong. Their defense was strong, and they scored enough on offense, and they controlled the line of scrimmage on offense, I thought, throughout the season. They just ran into a little bit of a juggernaut in Canton.
It's only a matter of time before Canton wins a state title, right?
I would think so, because I don't know. They have a great staff there. Everything is kind of, filtered for them to win a state title. They play that ground attack that, in November it's cold weather. We haven't had that cold weather, but it's kind of made for the snow and the 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I think you're right. Eventually, they're going to win one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's talk about a few other district final results. Staying in Division I, how good is this Grand Ledge team? They put up 45 against a good Brighton team. They win 45-21.
Yeah, because Brighton defense had played really well. I think, again, I think we found some answers in Romeo. I'm not sure we found many answers out of Grand Ledge, because most of their games obviously are coming out of the mid-state, the CAC, and the Lansing area. And they beat Brighton. This is probably the best win they've had all season, where Brighton was playing much better as the season gone on. Yes. They had an injury at quarterback. It came back, so it looked like the Dogs were going to, continue to play well. Giving up 45 points, and they hadn't done that all year, Brighton. So I don't know. I really don't know how good Brighton is yet. Maybe we'll
Grand Ledge.
I'm sorry, yeah, Grand Ledge. How good they are, even though they're undefeated.
Yes,
obviously.
I know.
In the mid-state, you just don't know, because very few times do they venture outside of that. Now, Brighton's kind of just down the road in Livingston County. So.
And they've got, what, Rockford this week?
Rockford next.
So that?
It's not a great Rockford team, but then again, getting back to Canton and how Rockford finished the season strong, that's how Canton finished the season.
No doubt. Finally, back to Division V. Lansing Catholic goes to Portland, right? Beats Portland 21-14. Our Mr. Football candidate, Tony Poljan, very impressive.
Yeah, I was at that game, and if nothing else, I saw out of Tony Poljan that he's a winner. And in the second half, he carried the ball 15 times. That's a lot for a quarterback.
He's big.
And many times it would be like 3-4 times in a row we'd carry the ball. And there's no secret. They kind of took out their wingback out of the game. I'm trying to think of his name. His first name's also Tony from Lansing Catholic. So they kind of eliminated one of their options, and I don't know if they did the right thing. That's what Coach Jim Ahern from Lansing Catholic was saying, that they had to go to Tony. They were taking some other options away from their offense. And he really answered. And Poljan made some mistakes in that game. He fumbled on the 13-yard line when it was a 7-point game late. But the defense,
right, his defensive prowess,
and it's one thing I noticed from both coaches that were saying, the coach at Portland and Ahern at Lansing Catholic, they're saying Tony does such a great job on defense. It often goes overlooked because you're paying so much attention to him and what he does offensively.
Definitely a mover and a shaker in this year's Hungry Howard's Mr. Football race.
Kind of somewhat of a sleeper in the sense that he plays in Division V. He's not your marquee Division I, Southeastern Michigan or Grand Rapids area type of player.
But right now, you just want to get into the Final Four, and he's on the cusp, perhaps. So we'll see. What did they play this week?
They got to go to Freeland, an undefeated Freeland team. That's a winnable game. Again, you talk about teams, how good they are. See, I think Lansing Catholics kind of answered last week how good they were, because they did not play well against Portland the first time, and they proved themselves this time they could beat them. So.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the wrap. Preview coming up in just a couple of days. All the games we talked about, by the way, you can watch the highlights right here on our YouTube page. So check those out if you feel so inclined, and we'll see you in just a couple days. Talk about regionals. Big weekend.